Welcome to the Game 4 podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're back, live and direct. Bring it to your neck, bow tie flow.
We short one. Shouts to Lance. He's I don't know, one of the boroughs right now.
He's in one of the boroughs. He might be, Lance is cheap. He might be in New Jersey, crossing the turnpike every day to get to New York.
And that's wild because there's no place I'd rather be right now than New York. Grateful Dead did a show last night. Well, Dead and Company did a show last night, and this night sold out the Garden last night. And I watched the whole set on YouTube live stream yesterday after we came back.
So there's a difference between Grateful Dead and Dead and Company. Is Dead and Company what they use now as because some of the members have been
Jerry Garcia
realigned?
Jerry Garcia's passed away, right? 94, I think. But now John Mayer is the lead guitarist and lead vocalist for Dead and Company.
So out of respect to Jerry Garcia, they go by Dead and Company as opposed to the Grateful Dead?
Yeah, the last Grateful Dead show was the show I was at in Santa Clara. Over like 70,000, 80,000 Fare Thee Well tour. And they did that. And that was the last time they would be called Grateful Dead.
So how much had you known that prior to, what's the price tag for your seat that you can't see the last Grateful Dead show?
Well, that was it. It was called the Fare Thee Well show.
Well, I mean, but Jerry Garcia passed after that?
No, Jerry passed before that.
Okay.
But this is the last time we're going to call ourselves Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
The last time's like Phil Lesh, who's the bassist for Grateful Dead. He doesn't tour with Dead and Company.
Gotcha.
So this is his last show he's doing with Mickey and Bill and Bob Weir and all those guys.
So what's the price tag on that? Somebody wants to get you out of your seat. You cannot go. You can't stream. You can never see this performance again. What's the price tag on the table to where you're taking the money and you're not thinking twice about it? Realistically, what would you take?
1,500. I'll do 15.
Ooh, 15?
Because that was my biggest conscious moment. That and Prince, just because what that was like. And that was during the time I first started falling in love with the Dead's music. So for me, that price tag would be crazy.
So somebody come to you with the low ball. I got 700.
No, I would have stayed at that show.
For 700?
I would stay at
700?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, you know what's dope about that is I have no proof I was at that show. I was at that show by myself. Oh, I did take a few pictures. I posted on Facebook, but I purposely wanted to keep that as like one of those you were there at that moment type thing and just live in that moment. I went by myself. So
800 and a Jack in the Box Oreo shake.
Oreo shake. The salted caramel one might be on here, but
we are done with this. We are done with this. Brixx, what's good?
Chilling, man. You see, we got a lot of, because we're we come from that hip hop background and generation, but there's so much music out there. We don't just listen to rap. I think it's just good to everything is even with hip hop, hip hop is based on sample and stuff like that. So it comes from all different genres, whether it's rock or reggae or blues. All these things help build what we got now. So it's always dope to venture out, try different stuff. Trev's collection is crazy. With all the bands and all that. And I thought I was really versed, but Trev
has a record player. That you tap out at that point. Trev, and it's not just collecting dust. He actually uses records.
Yesterday I was listening to what's going on.
There's nowhere musically he can't go with you. You know what I'm saying? That diversity.
The hyphy crowd would have a thing or two to say about his.
And you know what's wild about that? It's on both ends though. I think if you're if you say you love music and you're a middle-aged white American and you're 55 and you say you love music and you never really heard Illmatic.
Yeah,
I think
that's tough.
That's crazy.
That's tough. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think it's that for we should listen to it all. Because everybody's missing out on some shit if we just say, well, this is the genre I grew up on, this is what I'm rocking with. And so it's opened up. And then every artist you listen to, they have influences. So next thing you know, you're in the 1920s listening to fucking Robert Johnson.
I was telling Trev, one of my favorite bands now is The Clash. And one thing about because the music I listen to the most probably besides rap is reggae. I listen to a lot of reggae. And Mikey Dread is one of my favorite reggae artists. Yeah. He worked with The Clash. And so everything's kind of connects. So you'll listen to one thing and you'll find one influence in a song, somebody they work with, and that'll get you somewhere else. And next thing you know, you're deep in the music. So it's all connected. And so even with reggae, everything that's going on socially, reggae was rap music in the late 60s and 70s. That was the rebel music. That was the music that scared the government. How now is a lot of stuff with drug culture and stuff like that in hip hop. Well, obviously we and part the Rasta culture, that was a big thing. So the same battles that we battle now in black music, in culture, it was the same thing going on with that. So like, you know, as much as things seem different, we all singing the same song. Like if you listen to Bob Marley, listen to Concrete Jungle, records like that, it's the same tales, the same stories, the same perspective, the same energy. Like everything that we dealing with has been going on.
And the dope thing about music is it always moves. Like the music is going to tell you what's going on socially and culturally. Facts. So it's dope.
When it's at its best, it should always do that.
It always is. I was talking to one of my coworkers at work because I just went to recently seen Roger Waters of Pink Floyd. He did a show at
Pink Floyd is way more popular than I ever thought they were.
Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon is probably the biggest cult classic music ever. I think that's the biggest cult classic album that there is. Like that's probably nothing bigger than that. But I was telling my coworker that Roger Waters, uncomfortably went in on Trump. Yeah. Like it was uncomfortable. People were walking out. Yeah. And he was like, man, see, I hate when my politics mix with music. I said, when in the fuck does that not happen? Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what always your line in the sand is what you always know where a great artist stands politically. So and there's nothing changed now. It's still the same way, or at least it should be.
And to that point, we spoke about this a couple of episodes ago, how Eminem drew that line in the sand on his freestyle, the BET Awards cipher, and said, quite frankly, you know, if you thought you were one of my fans and you feel some kind of way about how I address Donald Trump, then you're not one of my fans. Word. You know what I'm saying? Like just point blank. You know, bigger than that, he dropped a new single. Walk on Water with Beyonce this past weekend. Built up the hype to it. Everybody was ready for it. The track hits. Beyonce come on with the killer vocals. And then from there, what happened, Drew?
Yeah, man. You know, it's funny. The first thing when I first listened to it, I said, Eminem's been searching his name on Twitter. And you think M don't do shit like that, but that's obviously it sounds like that's what he did. Like, you know, he typed his name in because artists like him, Jay, people think like they don't have their pulse really on what's going on, but they know what's going on. They know what's going on, and you know, everything he said is like part of the battles I have on Twitter arguing with people about Eminem. You know, so it's crazy to hear him say it. I think, you know, it's crazy because like M has a song called Words Are Weapons. Remember that song? Yeah, with D12. Okay. And now that, you know, people don't put as much emphasis on what he's saying anymore, he probably feels defenseless. Like he made a song come out, Words Are My Weapon. Yeah. And so now when people are telling you that your words don't matter anymore, and in a blade that you spent your whole life sharpening, because you got to think about it like this. M was always very transparent with his upbringing and everything. From getting bullied by D'Angelo Bailey to his Uncle Ronnie, to his mom, to his daughter, dealing with Kim, his drug abuse, everything like that. And his defense was always his words. That was when that mic was in his hand or he's freestyling, whatever it may be, he's battling, you can't fuck with him. So now people are trying to disarm him. And that's a tough thing to deal with. And you know, that song is M dealing with that part of it. But
and to add to what you're saying, it's interesting because we've been in this discussion for maybe 5 to 7 years now, even longer than that, where people from our generation who thought it was unquestioned how talented Eminem was lyrically has been questioned for some time now. I mean, you're fighting that battle every day on the internet if you talk about how talented Eminem is. And I think it's that disparity once again from people who were introduced to him in his early catalog and the features and the you know 100 Miles and Running and the soundtracks, as opposed to people who have been hearing this Eminem who pops in on a feature or the rap guy.
If you don't know scary movies, you don't know Eminem.
I think Eminem has became a victim of what most huge artists. What happens with them? I think like only a few artists have ever escaped it, like maybe Jay-Z. Like there comes a point where saying you're dope as fuck is not cool anymore. Eminem's in a space where that shit just became a popular narrative that he might be overrated, that he might have white privilege, a bunch of stuff that's not true. And that's why for me, when I saw he was doing a song with Beyonce, I said, this can't work. Because people be on that with Beyonce. But like, people were ready to not fuck with that song. So unless you made something undeniable, it wasn't gonna work. I was like, I think when you do a song with Beyonce, you're putting too much pressure on the record. And people want to say that shit's whack.
I like that though. What do they have to lose? Go after it. I like the risk because it could be.
Because I think what happens is the end game now.
Yeah.
Because I personally like the record. I'm not saying if you don't like the record, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But just for that record, Eminem's rapping well. Beyonce sounds beautiful. For it to overwhelmingly people being saying they don't fuck with the record.
I think a big part of it too is just the style of the record. Though there's no beat.
Yeah, it's tough.
But Eminem's a lyricist. We want to hear his words, right?
We do, but
that was a lyrical exercise,
It's hard to latch on to a record because this is the thing. Because driving rhythm, things like that, kind of, especially also too with the hook. The hook's not really rhythmic. It's very lush.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to latch on to. You're kind of grabbing that water.
Yeah.
No pun intended. You know what I'm saying? So
Bars.
So it's like it's hard to latch on to the song. And I'm one of the people, like, you know, most people don't really listen to singles anyway like that. I'm probably never gonna listen to the song when the song's on the album. I'm gonna skip it. Yeah. And there are singles I listen to. Like I listen to "Not Afraid" when I listen to "Recovery." Like "Without Me," is one of my favorite M songs. I love "Without Me." That song. I know people think that shit is like kind of goofy.
That's one of my favorite.
M was saying some shit, and that song is crazy. You know what's funny too? I was thinking like even with Beyonce. I know when Beyonce, because Skylar Grey wrote the hook.
Okay.
But when B,
I heard that name in a while.
when B, she wrote that. When B got it. Remember what on her documentary? B was like I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit.
Yeah,
that shit kind of went viral,
Yeah.
if you guys remember. And so I know when she heard M, I probably even struck a chord with Beyonce because that's really what M is saying on that. I'm sensitive about my shit.
Yeah.
Like as great as I am and I've been and I think I am, y'all kind of made me lose my confidence a little bit. And I am sensitive about my music because any artist, because you put your life's work, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into being dope.
Yeah.
So I'm sure even just the message of what M was talking about, I'm sure it even resonated with B just based on she has that, you know. That,
I think whenever you're great at anything, part of being great at it is the insecurity of motherfuckers catching you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like the insecurity, like Jerry Rice used to talk about that shit. Like, man, niggas just want the crown. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I'm running up these hills. Like,
you gotta worry about it, Jerry.
Andre Rising, like nigga, nah.
It's not happening, right? So, I ain't fucking with Tim Brown. You know, so. You know, I think that fear is a real thing for people who are as great as M is. And like I said, man, I just see people run with shit. I saw people run with Mary J. Blige Can't Sing.
Right.
Run with Alicia Keys is overrated. You'd be like, where did this fucking come from all of a sudden?
It's like Skip Bayless saying LeBron got a clutch gene. Like people, or
the best regular season quarterback.
With Peyton
Manning. Like you hear narratives and niggas should start running with it. So for me, I think it's that time for him. And like it happens to pretty much all artists where you get in this space where there's nothing you could really like. Even 50 was talking about it, and I think with him, he's never got back to that niche or whatever. But 50 was like, there was a time I didn't even make music because it didn't matter. Nothing was going to work.
I agree 100%.
I think at 50, I don't know if he's capable, if he has another hit in him. But I think 50, if he did have something that people want to hear, it could work now.
Right.
If he had it, there was a time that nothing he was going to do was going to work.
Agree.
There was a time nothing Ja did was going to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like. And I think with M right now, unless it is undeniable, people are not gonna fuck with it.
And you know, part of it too is people want to see which greats can be caught, right? Jay-Z is still with a full head of steam. I'm not trying to compare my young favorite up and coming artist to Jay-Z. Nas is sacrilegious in most places, right? You know what I'm saying? So even with Pac, it's so much overwhelming influences and great music. So people are like, which one of these guys that you keep putting in your top 4 or 5 that's telling me untouchable is touchable? Well, K-Dot can mess with Eminem, right? He can be touched by this guy and that guy, and that's what Eminem has done because the last time we've seen Life is Good, we've seen 444, I can't really touch those guys. Big's not here, Pac's not here, but this guy right here, this guy that's had a couple bunk albums.
That's true.
This guy right here.
And he's white.
And he's white. And on top of that, Eminem's legs were kind of taken from under him because part of it was the freelance of being able to have those characters talk about the rape and the misogyny and killing people and shooting them. That's kind of, he's aged out of that some, right? And it's kind of beating a dead horse. So now we have Eminem that has to be conscious, and I can't come out there and just show you the lyrical exercise. So now it's like, you kind of made Superman human. And if you do that to Eminem without the hype, without being part of the moment and the bleached hair and you know the crazy antics and having the people who he's dissed, the biggest people in pop music in the front row at the awards, all that's gone.
That's true.
So now I'm just here in the mixtape, smack battle rap era where now all of a sudden Loaded Lux and everybody's doing what it was just Eminem doing before. And so it's tough. He's like the one person that people feel like they can humanize, so to speak, on that icon list, and it's like, well, now how many people can we talk about may be better than Eminem to some people?
But it's funny. But even with the most telling line to me on the album, on that song, was the last line. Yeah. It was like, I'll decide if it's my time to bow out.
Yeah.
So as much as y'all try to say this mumble rap shit is what's popping, or what I'm saying doesn't matter, I'm going to decide my fucking narrative, how this shit ends, because, and that's why I think this song is kind of like a quiet before the storm kind of thing. I think I think the album's gonna be the total opposite.
Yeah.
And the fact that he in like the very end, re-giving himself confidence. Bitch, I made stand.
Yeah. What do y'all think about that? Do you think that's like M's crowning achievement? If you have to think about Eminem songs, like
definitely, because we always in hip hop and even in other genres of music. Like, if we're talking about a nigga's pen, I need to know what story you told me.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, M telling that story, if you want to say one thing, like, yeah, I wrote that, and let me see somebody else do it, I would say it's Stan.
Yeah.
How much better do you think Stan is than Kim?
Oh, a lot better.
I think Kim's a lot more to take in.
Yeah.
Screaming and shit in the background. Yeah. The subject matter is so graphic that you might already not fuck with it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But Stan is just a brilliantly fucking written, lyrical fucking brilliant single.
Yeah.
That, I don't know, probably was #1 song in the fucking country. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was, I think that was harder for him to do, and I think it fit everything. So I think that's probably the perfect story.
What I think is closer to Stan is I am whatever you say, like that I am whatever you say. I think that's the closest thing to him just talking about a day in the life. It wasn't necessarily a story, but just his lens. Yeah. I think that's a lot closer to Stan. But like you said, we can start throwing all these rappers in a box of who has a dope single, who can do the lyrical exercise, and then you say, okay, now let's put the storytellers out there, and then the list gets extremely smaller. Right. And that's why he put Stan up there, because if you just name a lyrical song, the people will go put their favorite mixtape or local rapper. It's like, oh, he got some heat, 78 bars of heat, and it's like, all right, let's do Stan now.
Right. Yeah.
Now let's separate a little bit.
And I think that's one thing I think what greats can do is the best of the best. They can go places that other, like, for an example, right? One of my favorite Michael Jackson, to me, Michael Jackson's greatest song is Lady in My Life. And the reason why, not to get too far into that, go off, but I feel like he went somewhere that other artists like Teddy Pendergrass or the Vandross will go, but they can't go also with you with Billie Jean. I can go wherever you go, I can go, but you can't go here with me.
Right.
And I think the greatest of the greatest have that ability. We can be here on some stuff. I'm gonna go over here. Can you catch up? Yeah. Nah, and I think that's kind of like in withstand, but. I think that's the situation. I just felt, one thing I was excited about, because it was weird too. I'm interested how this works in the industry, because the European MTV Awards was it last night or night before last? And M won for Best Hip Hop of the Year. And he
already?
It was weird.
Yeah, he was great. So y'all got to leave him alone.
M even said, I don't know why I won. And he performed the new record. One thing I was excited about, and it's something that's always puzzled me, and I feel like he's kind of always been a victim of this, is production with him. I think Relapse is probably his best produced album.
It's out there.
Not Relapse, but Recovery.
I know what you're talking about.
And Alchemist was on stage with him. And if you know, Alchemist is M's DJ. Yeah. But they don't have any records. The only record they have is on Alchemist's second album.
Oh, it's not even on the M.
And is he producing on? Did he say he's producing on this record?
I don't know, but him being right now with M like that. I'm hoping that Alchemist has a closer thing. I know Kendrick's on the album, and Al has a ties to TDE right now too. So I'm trying to weave in, because if you know me, you know how much I love Alchemist.
Trying to get that one.
And I don't know why he's been DJ for 10 years. I don't know why they don't have no songs.
And you know what? You know what's wild is I can't even front. I'm not hella
excited about
M's record.
Really?
I love it, and that's the thing about M, just keeping it all the way. I think he's one of the dopest artists ever, but I don't think his music aged that great.
It didn't at all. Not most of it. I mean, like you said, there are some gems. I think you and I had this conversation about 5-6 years ago. Remember, we were just talking about Pac and Eminem, and then you just listed off some hits, and I just kind of conceded. But as someone who was, a huge Eminem fan, very high at the top of my list, if not #1, you just go back through and so many records, starting from the very first album. Because like the Eminem Show to me is the album that aged the best. When we talking about the Slim Shady LP, it's like some of those records are very like.
If I had $1 million, you don't even want to hear that now.
And the other thing about it is like, like for instance, even somebody like Prince or like Eminem, all like amazing, great artists. Some of their greatness is shock value.
Yeah.
So then you've heard it a million times because they're your favorite artists.
Yeah.
So now you heard Dirty Mind. Not the Dirty Mind by Prince isn't crazy, but you heard that shit now.
Now Kill You
shock value's over.
Kill You doesn't feel the same.
Kill You's done.
Yeah.
And now you're just leaning on how dope is this actual song.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what
But you know what it is though, but then very quickly the tactical brilliance brings you back in. Because if you listen to Slim Shady LP, and then when Role Model comes on, you be like, niggas can't fuck with him.
But part of this, so we've had this conversation, like you said, not to get too far off, but here's where you talk about Advantage Biggie. Because all we've ever heard is the brilliance, right? And you think about what Eminem had, what 50 Cent had, right? And you just see the stark contrast between albums 1 and 2 and 4 and 5. I mean, it's a noticeable difference. And so Advantage Biggie, because we can't even imagine Biggie struggling to make anything but great music, right? And so, I mean, you wouldn't, you hear Eminem's first 2 to 3 albums, you couldn't picture this guy on Relapse, you know, and Recovery, and they're still totally different artists, right? Or 50 trying to recreate something, dropping singles in these projects and Animal. I mean, you couldn't even picture that because it looked like he didn't know nothing but a hit for like 5 to 6 years. And so Advantage, some of them dudes like Big, who's like, man, like, I mean, you know, and I'm sure...
Because you know what the thing that Big didn't have to deal with? And this is one reason why, too, you can make an argument if you feel like Jay is the greatest. Is always finding a new way to reinvent yourself and a way to find something new to do. Because I said this on the Culture episodes, you know, a while back when we had the debate about the best rappers. And I said one thing, this is where being white hurts Eminem. And the reason why is because... certain things he can't go there. Like you're not gonna M's not gonna do nothing with a Metro Boomin beat. So he can't adjust with the time, and it's hard for even with the older great rappers. You see, we still have I got an album from 3000. And now was on the biggest break of his career. Jay was on a big break. You know what I'm saying? And Jay, luckily. But that's what I'm saying, the point about Jay. He's always been able to find something fresh. Like Reasonable Doubt was his whole life's work. Then Volume 1, now Biggie's gone. So now this and Volume 2 is my angle. Volume 3, I'm the king. Volume Dynasty, okay, now I'm bringing the whole squad together. Blueprint, I got this beat and I can ride the wave with this beat with Nas. All the way up till now, like, I can talk about my personal life. Jay's always been able to find a new footprint. And you can see, even Jay talked about, like, he called it like the awkward moments. Like Kingdom Come, where he didn't really know where he fit in the space of the game. And you heard it, because he's making songs.
20 is the most...
Because you hear songs like Anything You Want, trying to make strip club anthems. That's not sure. You know, but then, American Gangster comes out, I feel comfortable with that mind state, and I can make this record. So Jay's always been able to leapfrog the different lily paths throughout his career, and that's not easy for everyone. 3000 guys hinting at that. Like, I don't know how do I navigate this space? And that's kind of tough thing because he's never ever gave us anything.
So at the end of the day,
coming in at 45 to do it is going to be really hard to do, or however old he is.
So to put you on the hook, you know, what you said you're not excited. What's this Eminem album going to be? Because I think you were a little bit wrong about the Jay album, right?
I was very wrong about Jay.
I was very one of your favorite albums, and you were like,
Jay-Z's one of my favorite artists of all time. I love.
You slow played him,
but I just because of what did he have to say? Because he's never gave us that before. So I didn't anticipate him giving us that now. So I was like, okay, well, more Magna Carta. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I want to hear that anymore.
Unless it was 12 Picasso.
And then he hit us with that. So man, I've never been happier to be wrong in my life. But Eminem.
Where is it going to be? Terrible, solid?
I think it'll be solid. It'll be interesting to see even if it's solid. Because do you think the Marshall Mathers LP2 was good?
I think it was bad. I think it was
okay, because I didn't like that shit at all.
Not at all.
But I didn't know if it was during a time where I just didn't want to hear him.
So it's going to be better than that in your anticipation.
Yeah, it'll be better. I think it'll be solid. And I think Eminem has a chip on his shoulder because of how he feels about.
He got Kendrick on there again too, so we'll see if this goes better than the Love Song, whatever it was called last time.
I saw. What do you say to wrap it up? What do you think? Eminem's album, terrible, solid, great, classic, better than 444?
I think it'll be. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect.
Are you excited to hear from Eminem right now?
I'm always excited to hear from Brilliance. So
like Skip Bayless.
So like M has a. Because that's the thing I was saying before a couple episodes ago too. Like, man, certain people like. you know, I have that respect for you. I'm always gonna fuck with you. Like, and M is even on the next level because he's really one of the best ever. You know, he's more than just one of my favorites. He's really one of the best. So I can't be like, because I didn't love Relapse. I liked Recovery. I did like Marshmallow LP too. And so, based on the track record recently,
you think it's better than all three of those? Can he get better than all three?
If he makes a Recovery, I'm happy.
Yeah, facts. I think a big part of it is just production. And I think one thing, because this is the thing, I feel like the rappers have their spaces where they're like, oh, wow, this was prime whoever. Eminem's show / 8 Mile Eminem was one of the craziest motherfuckers ever. Like, that Eminem, there's nobody better than that. Like, when you listen to Run Rabbit Run and listen to like White America and Soldier and Rap Game and all those songs, like
it's literally a lesson in rap.
Like you listen to those two projects and that 2002, 2003 Eminem. Like, and that's the thing too. Also, and he is into it more on Encore too. Is the political side of M. So there's a perfect climate right now for political, you know, narratives, you know, and subject matter in your music. And we know what he did with the Trump shit on the freestyle on the Hip Hop Award. So if he takes that lane, hopefully Alchemist got some beats on there, and let's rock out. See Drake out, see he form.
Yeah. Speaking of political climate, brilliant rappers, all this ties in so perfectly to Meek Mill. Meek Mill. I know we touched on it a little bit last week, pause, but man, this thing has grown quickly. You know, I mean, everybody from Jay-Z to, you know, whoever major influence, you know, Sean King, Kaepernick,
the Eagles.
People have backed Meek Mill. People have backed him, and it's interesting because, you know, it puts the black community, the hip hop community, kind of on the hook again, in my opinion, to say, are we going to carry the torch for Meek, right? Is this the time we're going to get behind? The last time, most recently, is Kaepernick, because people are still rallying behind Colin Kaepernick. So, you know, Meek Mill, you know, had a charge, was on probation for X amount of years, had a couple little incidents. I think Trev spelled him out last week with some under the radar scuffles and run-ins that he was never officially tied to, but people under the radar kind of know he may or may not have had a hand in, but then was on some dirt bikes illegally, New York City, lands him back in court, sentenced 2 to 4 years, instantly. People speak up and are talking about, once again, the justice system is kind of out to get, you know, a young black man. And so I'm here to ask, like, where are you with Meek Mill, right? Are you on the free Meek, this is another injustice, or are you on the, look, right now is not the time to rock. We got to find a better cause than someone who was being reckless. And I mean,
so it's crazy with things like this because two things can be true. You know, I think this is one of those fucking multi-layered things, right? So it could be very true that Meek got fucked, and that what he's in jail for, going to prison for, they were profiling him, they were out to get him, and they were gonna attempt to not stop until they saw him behind bars. I think that can be true, and I also think at the same time it could be true that, my nigga, if you know all these things are going on, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think if we don't give the side of the game of, my nigga, what the fuck are you doing? And I think we're not doing anybody any service.
We're irresponsible.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all we know is some bullshit we see on social media. And you'd be like, oh, a nigga on probation shouldn't move like that. We don't know none of the day-to-day shit he does. And we like, you're on probation moving like that? That's dumb. My nigga, like, that's not cool. Especially knowing, and I'll concede and automatically, because the judicial system gets no benefit of the doubt. I'll automatically concede they're trying to get you. Automatically concede that. So with that being said, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And I think if we don't ask this nigga, what the fuck are you doing? Then we're just giving niggas passes to do things that are not smart. And just be like, nah, it's all on them. Like, I think both things can be true. Like, so
it's a simple thing of accountability. You know what I'm saying? The holding people accountable and the people around you accountable. Because the thing is too, like, I mean, this is in general, like when you anytime you deal with somebody, a celebrity, an athlete, whatever it may be, it's the yes man kind of thing. And I don't know Meek's camp like that, but if Meek wants to kick it, and you got the young boys with them, they want to pop it too. Active, like, ain't nobody gonna be like, nah, man, we shouldn't do this. Like, nah, nigga, I'm 20, we got a pocket full of money. let's hit these wheelies. But you know, it's funny. Somebody said on Twitter, it was hella true. Like, you know, it's like black people were just one big family. Like we was ripping Meek, you know what I'm saying, with the Drake shit. Niggas playing like falling down the stairs. Yeah, all this shit. Niggas, Meek, you goofy. But now, if something really happened, we got our family.
Yeah, we can mess with our family.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's in house, nigga. Like we can shoot on this nigga and whatever, make a little memes. Yeah. But when it comes down to what's real, we got you. We've seen that all time and time again. OJ and all that. Like,
I'm glad you said that because that was my point too. Is that this potentially be a misstep to where we back the wrong initiative because it's so much traction right now. Colin Kaepernick is batting 1,000. There is no longer a narrative for anyone to have an issue that makes sense against Colin Kaepernick or people who decide to protest with him. Yeah. Whether it moves the needle or not, and I'm somebody who's like, it may not move the needle as far as what the NFL does, it has done what it's supposed to do. The narrative is there, and every day, people who got the blue check on Twitter, whoever are credible people on the news, have made it very well known, and we'll get into Cap in a minute, but that backing that was the right thing to do. Yeah. So do we lose some credibility as a community if we chase this similar to OJ, where it was like, y'all backed OJ?
But this is the thing, we can sound like maybe he wasn't moving as solid as he should. It shouldn't be, he wasn't moving as tight as he could be. Yeah. But he, like I said, like still last week, man, he wasn't out here like he didn't stab anybody. Like he's not. Allegedly. They're not. Them niggas ain't scamming credit cards. They not shooting at niggas. Like they're not doing none of that. Like, and I get you can.
But that's tough to even say though, because niggas is on camera beating niggas up, and everybody know where it's coming from. So this ain't no new release information. These niggas is watching you, watching Beans get snuffed. They're watching Safari run down the street. Yeah. We seen it. You think the fucking cops don't see this shit?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so for like, they were like, niggas know there's violence. Like, nigga, so this nigga knew he was going to court. They just pulled up on French last week. Yeah. So then you'd be like, oh man, free this nigga. I mean, I don't want to see no man go to jail. Yeah. And I know this shit is a setup for and a trap for once you go, you're gonna keep going back. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the other part, like, my nigga, who the fuck are you kicking it with?
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying before.
Who the fuck are you kicking it with, my nigga? Because niggas shoot like if a nigga breaks the law in New York, I have a question about what the fuck you're doing. Yeah. These niggas is trying to get you locked up. Yeah. Automatic.
And to your point, we were talking at the gym last week, and you just talked about how it was cool to just hear about cats that Jay-Z and Nas rapped about 50 in Queens and Brooklyn who were real life street guys that they rapped about for years, who were getting it, have been getting it, and maybe still are getting it. But they don't mix and mingle. They spent so many years staying real clean in New York with a way higher profile. Yeah. So you talk about not being reckless, but still moving and being true to who you are. Yeah. It's a fine line to do that.
But a part of it is also just kind of the expectations of rappers. Meek is not one of these. You know, he's a street rapper. Yeah. So there's always a element of what you back up, what you talk, and you know all these kind of things. Like
Meek stay pulling up on niggas. Right, so that's what I'm saying. Street part of it look legit.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it's that fine line because your credibility is a big part of who you are. As part of, especially with him, any artist, whatever lane you're in, are you credible in that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and so.
Until you hit your way out of it. Once you sell enough records, you can stop doing that because you already got them first X amount of years built in.
And here's the thing why we talk about it even being bigger than anything. Any rapper, artist who deals with this nigga on a first-hand basis and is saying free Meek, free that, and you didn't fucking punch the nigga in his stomach when he riding on dirt bikes in New York, or when he's keep pulling up on niggas, if you wasn't on his helmet then shut the fuck up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, period. Because this is what happens. Then that shit, because then you be looking online and this shit looks really trendy. Yeah, it is. You be like, I mean, I'm sure you don't want the man in jail. Right. But I don't know, because even I was on Remy's page, and I think Remy been doing a lot of damage control on IG because she said some shit that wasn't real cool about Remy. I mean about Cardi B. Yeah. And she said some shit that wasn't really too much in Meek's favor. Yeah. Now you doing it, and I'm not even saying you want him in jail, but it just looked like damage control now. You know what I'm saying?
The turnout's crazy. Like, y'all seen the video?
Oh,
the turnout is crazy. Yeah. Like, so everything always has a figurehead. And so for this particular, because right now, I feel like in our community, it's a zero tolerance for anything that puts us in a oppressed situation or doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And so Meek right now is the figurehead of that when it comes to, we always talk about systematic oppression as far as putting young black men in jail in the pattern of going back and going back and going back. So right now we own everything. Anything against that, we on their line. Yeah. And so this is a part, I get what you're saying about the Trinity. Sometimes people do just kind of catch a wave and go with that, but we can't discredit it because that's how Black Lives Matter started. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Was Twitter, a hashtag, and it turned into a political movement. It's something that's going to be an important part of who we are. Like, so we can't, like...
Can I use one of your lines on you to respond to? Is that you make a really good point around every time someone throws out a wacky conspiracy theory, it makes anyone who questions something look really wacky. And that's what I'm saying the fear is. I can bet you without Google, there are several, if not a couple major injustice things going on across the United States. There is someone who was recently done extremely wrong, locked up, something taken away, killed, shot, and we could potentially rally around that. Mind you, the name isn't as big as Meek, but what I'm saying is like all we have to do is misstep with Meek and a couple of details to come out about what he was arrested for or some reckless things he's done, and then those same people who've been beating the drum who thinks that Black Lives Matter is just some radical group and we just get behind anything, well then it knocks us down and say, see, you guys just do that with anything.
And you know the thing about it is, man, like seriously, the biggest thing missing in our communities, because we rally when shit like this comes together, right? Like niggas need to start saying stop doing lame ass shit when this shit's happening.
Yeah, balance it out.
Like that shit don't be, and I'm not saying some people, I'm sure maybe Ross had a conversation, Jay, but my nigga, if your circle's not if they were on the bikes with you, instead of saying nigga go home, who the fuck are you kicking it with, nigga? Like seriously, until that shit starts getting addressed and these niggas start being called nerds, then this shit is whack.
Because you know what happens?
Because this shit's gonna keep happening. We're gonna keep saying free this nigga.
Because when the press runs happen afterward and they do all the interviews, what do they always say? Oh, I have to change my circle up. Every time.
That's 100%
Every time. Because like I said, and again, it's also about, because I feel like, again, the family thing I was mentioning earlier, and it's the same thing in this situation because you feel responsible for everybody. Because Meek talks all the time. He even put it on the last Dream Takers mixtape, the infamous picture of him with the braids. Oh, little dirty Meek. So when he sees the young little niggas who was him in Philly, I gotta get him with me. So there's an element of it where niggas always gotta play Robin Hood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now, if you pull in a 15, 16 niggas, it's all about the young boys. That's the thing niggas talk about, the young boys. So I got these 18 and 19, don't know nothing, never been away, never left their neighborhood. Now we in NY, back when he was with Nicki around, like it's popping. It's gonna be hard for them to be like, hey, let's not do that. And we having fun. Like, this is way better than selling drugs in Philly. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I get what you're absolutely, I get it. But also too, it's about how many people you're trying, because that is a responsibility. Like I said, it's a family thing. So niggas be feeling responsible for a lot of people. That's the hard thing about it too. When niggas like Meek go away, niggas ain't eating.
I was gonna say, and think about.
So now you gotta think like, I'm gonna cut you off, but yeah, if no one steps in, none of us are doing nothing, nigga. I'm the breadwinner. So if nobody's there to check, but like I said, you know, Jay, I mean, he's managed by Rock Nation, so he has those big homies, we know, like, at least in the music industry. How far that goes, we don't know. But your day-to-days, though, are really the ones who have to change how you move.
And it's one of those things, like, if we're truly tired of seeing niggas go to jail,
both sides,
then we gotta handle this shit in-house. Because all the results are gonna be from these niggas is putting us in jail. So if we're not gonna say, nah, man, where the fuck is the accountability for that man? How old is Meek? In his mid to late 20s now?
Something like that, 28, 29 or something.
For that man and even more that man, because once you get that big, man, if you ain't got niggas to keep you humble, then that shit over with. And so until we hold it like, nah, nigga, y'all, like, what the fuck are y'all doing? All of y'all on some, like, if we talking street shit, should be fucking something should, like, niggas need to be addressed. Because now look at the result. And now it's free Meek, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying niggas don't want Meek free, But I think if niggas really truly wanted this nigga free from the gate, then other shit would have happened.
Yeah. And the best blueprint, for lack of a better term, is in-house with Jay. If you're that close to Jay, nobody's been better at maintaining maximum credibility for the most part. And then
keeping
still,
your nose clean.
And keeping your nose clean. And taking care of those guys. He's still, look at, you know what I'm saying, Emery. I mean, he's still next to them same dudes, kept them good, but he knew he had to keep the bag. He had to keep the money train going. So if it costs DeHaven, if it costs Beans, or at certain points, it's cool. They'll be back because the money train to keep rolling. But I'm not just about to be out here reckless with you to stop the money train.
Right.
You know, and as risky as backing Meek can be, like I said before, Colin Kaepernick, man, my oh my, how time has flown.
Yeah.
He is what, GQ Citizen of the Year.
Yeah.
Citizen of the Year, and people's blood is boiling.
That shit, I was watching Fox News. That shit was hilarious.
Fuck Britt McHenry too. She's trying to be the new Tommy Lauren.
Yeah, well,
Fuck
she was the one.
bitch.
I saw her on Fox today, and she was on some shit talking about if the NFL wants to do something.
Weird,
if it was an NFL player, it should have been J.J. Watt because he gave all this money. And I'm like, well, Caps gave millions of dollars.
That's what
you know what I'm saying, like.
Yeah.
What is
So here's one narrative that has, and we were talking about this the other day, that has to die. Because this is once again, we start talking about fucking narratives again, right? Like, this shit is crazy. And this goes into the Kaepernick before we first salute Cap for all the dope shit, all this shit's deserved, is Cap kneel and them motherfuckers peg African Americans anti-military.
Yeah.
What African American do you know that's anti-military?
Right.
There's not one African American person I know who does not have a loved one, or most of us 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that served in the military.
Absolutely.
Like, but these narratives get painted anti-military. What the fuck you mean? We've been in the military, in the United States military since the day one y'all niggas have in the Revolutionary War.
The first one, Crispus Attucks was the first person to die in the Revolutionary War.
Man, we've been
that
doing
was the
this
first
shit.
blood spill.
We was on both sides of the Civil War. Both sides.
When y'all didn't, we were willing to fight. We were willing to fight, and y'all wouldn't even let us fight.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So there was like, and like you were saying too, like there is a narrative that's anti-police. You know,
and it's real.
And that's real.
Yeah.
Fuck
Absolutely.
the police happen, and it's a real thing. That's how a lot of us feel. Fine, y'all can have that, because that's what it is. We let y'all know how it is.
Yeah.
The military, like he said, we all have family who is military.
Military is majority minority.
Right.
There's more minorities
Man, when
in the military.
my senior year of high school, there's nothing about me that's ever said I want to go to the military.
Yeah. Is this
my
89?
phone, 87. There was no, like my phone, the house phone used to blow up when the military calling the house because they want young niggas to come. Like you ain't, like you not about to, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't going to a 4-year college out of high school.
Right.
What you about to do? Go see the world. I remember they called me and I was telling them shit I like. I'm into music. I love music. I love making beats. So I don't make. You can know you do that in the military.
Military, so dope. They put everything.
I don't want to make beats in the submarine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And
like,
so
come to the military.
Like, and it wasn't. I didn't want to go to. That wasn't for me. Like, it wasn't anything against the army. That's not where my life chose. That's not what I was into. But like, there's so many people who are in that, and we, like I said, we've always front line for that. Like, you know.
And that's the
Shit
power.
is
That's
whack,
the power
man.
of media, because
Shit is whack.
all people still take snippets, right? That's why ESPN and all those things will be so popular, because there is like a small group of people who want the fine details of basketball and football. Let me turn on the highlights. I can see everything I need to know in 2 clips. Oh, 2 touchdowns thrown. Okay, Tom Brady's the best. Oh, touchdown catch, and McCaffrey. People don't want the details, and so as long as they turn on and they see someone kneeling and they see a flag, they're gonna say that's the narrative. It doesn't matter how many times they hear it. Oh, I know the narrative. I mean,
We can explain it.
Yeah.
This shit is wild, man. Like,
Doesn't matter.
I always like to bring that shit up because maybe somebody will be like, man, oh, that is true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because this shit is bullshit.
Because
Stop listening to ridiculous ass narratives that just get ran with.
And that's the thing too. I feel like, you know, these, you know, groups like Fox News and shit like that, these people want to try. I think there's a lot of misery loves company kind of thing. And what I mean by that is, we know how systematic oppression, we know about the KKK and stuff like that. They are desperate to try to find something equal to that. There's nothing. So they try to make Black Lives Matter into a terrorist group. There's never been one act of pebble throwing. What are you talking about? But they're so desperate to try to find something that they can say, see, you did it too. No, we ain't done shit to y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is y'all's weird thing that y'all have going. Don't drag us in it, because y'all just gotta have some account. Like we were talking about before about accountability. Have some fucking accountability We never got our 40 acres and a mule. That's fine.
That'd be so hard.
And
I'm still take it. Give me a
absolutely.
40 acres.
I'll tell Kaepernick to sit his ass and stand up.
40 acres. Where we get 40 acres at?
Nigga, let's go to Iowa. Shit, I don't know. Nigga, let's go.
40 acres. You know how hard it is to get a half acre in California. 40.
And like once again, like the second Kaepernick did this, I posted on Facebook. His career's over. Yeah. But man, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
What this man has done. Like seriously, not overblown. This is like Ali shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're bringing attention and bringing attention to something that was greatly needed attention brought. It's exposing how far we are as a country when it comes to our thought process of how this shit works and where people are. And at the very least, man, hopefully open up some conversation about like, God, like you think we're just talking?
You're right.
Like that's the problem. You really think we're just fucking talking?
Right.
And even to your point, we always, when people talk about the Ali era, they talk about an era of when people were kind of speaking up, and Ali was at the forefront of that. Mm-hmm. This has been the era of like, aside from LeBron James and some NBA players making a stand, this stands out far and away. He's like Kendrick Lamar to what rap is right now. Like ain't nobody close to doing what he's doing and that kind of impact. People, and with all due respect to Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett and those guys, but what
done great thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Malcolm Jenkins.
Exactly, Malcolm Jenkins.
Torrey
So
Smith.
it's a host of people, but what he stands for in this moment, when you look in the history books 10 to 15 years from now, it won't be a close second.
Right.
It won't be Malcolm and Martin.
Right.
It won't be, it will be Colin Kaepernick.
Because for one, none of them niggas, I don't even want to disparage nobody. Right. Because I will say this too, the Seahawks have always been kind of a real progressive team. That locker room, Doug Baldwin, all those guys have always been really outspoken. But nothing really moved. Nothing really moved until Cap. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the one. He's Moses. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, nah. Like you know what I mean? Like I have to take. I'm gonna take all this. Like everything. One thing too that was kind of funny because there's always the narrative like does Cap want to play and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's funny if you look at the pictures to the GQ thing.
Ripped. He's shredded.
I know it was reasons why Cap was a couple where he's shirtless, showing like, nah, I'm ready to play. Like there's nobody in the NFL. Josh McCown doesn't look like this. No. Like you know what I'm saying? Like Jacoby Brissett doesn't look like this. Like I'm ready to go. And I think that was done intentionally.
And I think his camp has been brilliant because we've been asking for Cap to say something, to do this, to do that. Still well played. Yeah. I mean, it's getting bigger and bigger, and the least he says.
Lawsuit. He ain't speaking on none of that shit.
And the man is saying the whole time he's letting the NFL tighten their own noose on their own neck.
Put their foot in their own mouth. Absolutely.
Like every week, and like he ain't doing nothing.
Nah, I don't have to do anything.
And like, and I made a post on IG about it. Like, like he's been silent, but the crescendo that he's made is deafening.
Yes.
In silence, like, and they can't, like, the volume knob broke off. Like, you turn shit and it pops off. They can't even turn it down.
Yeah.
The knob broke. And it's crazy, like, he's done all that without uttering a, we ain't heard Cap's voice since the last 100 lost. And he had a press conference and they said the same thing, we didn't execute. She learned from Harbaugh. I thought we heard his voice.
And not to mention, this guy, I mean, look at, like, I always got to throw my Brown stuff in there, but Josh Gordon, he hasn't played since 2014. He's back. They're talking about he ran a 4.35. So I say that to say, as much steam as it's picked up, it feels like forever. There's still an off season because this is just the first season Cap hasn't played. Yeah. That off season's gonna come around and people gonna get to looking at the table and looking around the locker room and say, "All right, has this kind of blown over enough?"
And the way time works, man, and it'll be interesting how fast it happens. But more and more people are gonna start looking at him as more of a hero.
Yep.
And I think there may be a chance he plays again, but I think so much has happened now.
You said it's hard. I agree with you.
I don't see it, but like I said, man. And the other dope thing about Kaepernick is I think he's obviously walked away, had to have been forcibly walked away from so much money. Yeah. But for Kaepernick, the rest of his life, he's gonna be able to go to Harvard, Yale, wherever, Columbia, wherever the fuck, and go
charged with like politicians.
He get charged with Barack charges.
Yeah, that's true.
And go be a public speaker for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Do you think? So that's the question I want to ask you guys before we put a cap on that situation.
Great.
Do you think that if Colin Kaepernick returns to the NFL and plays, regardless of how he performs, does he lose that leverage to be able to go around and speak and talk about how he moved from the NFL? Because once he plays, is it more like, okay, you had a stint, you protested, but you got back into that, so you're not really anti-establishment?
No, because you know, one reason I thought about that too. And one thing, Antonio Cromartie was on the Breakfast Club. And he had a dope interview because he kneeled, and he's saying the reason he's not in the league is he kneeled.
Yeah,
and
he got a lot of kids to support too.
He was saying, I play because I love it. I play for free, and I think like guys, we can't discount the part that guys just love football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like this is again their life's work.
Yeah.
Like so, I'm sure Cap probably the same thing as Cromartie. Like I'm not playing for Roger Goodell. I'm not playing for whoever the fuck the owner is of my team that I get signed to. I'm playing because I just love playing football. Yeah. And so if Cap, I think Cap has sacrificed so much and done so much that I don't think he loses any credibility, at least not with me at all.
No.
If he goes back, I want to play football. I love playing football.
Even when Kaepernick came back this year, wanted to come back this year, and he said he'd stand for the anthem. Yeah. If that's what he said, there's been a lot of rumors about if he actually said it or not. No problem with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had an issue that he wanted to get brought to light. And beyond a shadow of a doubt happened. The conversation happened. The narrative. So if that's what he wanted to accomplish, then he accomplished that.
Right.
Yeah.
So if he didn't say he was doing this forever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some attention's being brought. The NFL's going to have to do. You're going to see a lot more little black kids in commercials now in the NFL. So they have to do something about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see. And I do think it would be cool if Kaepernick did go sit down with the NFL during the offseason when all this goes about and give it, because I don't want to see football go.
Right.
I don't want to see football become a niche soccer sport. It's a great sport. I love it. Yeah. I'd like to see it survive this. But
you know what's crazy though? Like, and it's crazy because the NFL, because I always, up until this season, I always felt like nothing matters more in the league than winning. We see that by Deflategate with teams that wanting to go through the win. Like, the guys exactly. Vic's available.
Yeah,
at the pin.
Josh Gordon.
Michael Vick got a $100 million contract. We know NFL contracts aren't guaranteed, but he got a $100 million contract when there wasn't that many. If you remember back then, there wasn't that many.
Right.
So Vick got that. You look at all the domestic violence, Greg Hardy, all these guys get re-signed. Because if you can help my football team win games, that's all we give a fuck about. I was very surprised, and I'm like, we are guys who are entrenched in the league up until this season. I thought nothing mattered more. They will do anything to fucking win a football game.
Yeah, that black-white shit is always different.
But I didn't think it'd be to this point. I thought even if he struggled through the summer, once somebody got hurt, somebody would bring him in. Because this is what I really feel like. Because the whole thing with a lot of teams is we don't want the distraction. Cap being nowhere near anybody or even uttering a word has been way more distraction than the NFL could have ever possibly imagined.
Right. Yeah.
I really, because we know how the world is now, especially with social media. Everything moves so fast. If somebody, say the Ravens signed Cap back in August, September, whenever that was, you know how long that shit would have blew over?
Way long, yeah.
Like it would have blew over.
Possibly.
No, hold on. Because for instance, like, remember when Pepsi was going through it bad with the whole commercial with Kylie Jenner?
Yep.
Oh my God! Then the airline ship, the nigga got dragged off the plane. Something new always happens.
Man, I'm telling you,
if Cap was just sit on the bench somewhere, that shit would have been, because there would have been no issues with nothing.
Donald Sterling.
Exactly. Something always happens.
Man, this black-white shit is different, man.
True.
I see
this
now.
Black-white shit, man. That I'm telling you, I was like, this nigga is never playing football again.
But it's the thing, though.
That shit is not going. And once again, when that happened, I'm telling you, what happened was niggas drew that fucking line in the sand, and nobody is crossing that shit. You're here or you're there.
And that's why
people were not going to fuck with Kaepernick.
And that shit is over. That's why I think the collusion shit is going to hold up. Because one thing about it is there's 32 teams. And it's like the draft, like say a controversial like Tim Tebow. Nobody knew what the fuck to think of Tim Tebow. It only takes one team. 31 teams can fucking hate you. You tell me all 32 teams feel exactly the same way?
Colin Kaepernick.
I don't believe that.
climate, yeah.
Of course, it's bullshit, but
that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying.
That's one of the hardest things there is to prove.
Right, but I think something like that is why you can prove it. You can tell me at no point through all the injuries and all the horrible quarterbacks you see.
I don't think it's going to get to that though.
Huh?
I don't think it's going to get to that. I don't think that'll go through a full court.
It has to though, because he's not playing. We agree that he's not playing.
Absolutely not.
So if he's not playing, that's going to happen.
That's true.
There's only be one of the two. Both can't be. That is something. Both can't be true. He's not going to be in the NFL with a case going to the Supreme Court against the NFL. That's not going to happen while he's on the Broncos or some shit. You know what I'm saying? The Broncos have a team full of horrible quarterbacks, like fucking terrible quarterbacks.
That is weird.
John Elway Cap was this close to being a Bronco.
Yeah.
But they couldn't figure out a little bit of money. So I know on a talent level alone, John Elway thinks Colin Kaepernick can help him win football games. We know John Elway thinks that.
To the point, they're not committed to anybody. They're not developing Paxton Lynch. They're not developing Trevor Siemian anymore.
They got weak-ass Brock. We know one. That's one thing. That's what I'm saying. At least one team. So you know, at the very least, John Elway thinks Colin Kaepernick can play.
Yeah.
And he's right now. From what I've seen, the Broncos are struggling mightily. What are they like 3-7 or some shit? 3-6.
Yeah,
There's something like that. Something bad.
Patriots.
So their terrible offense is a mess. Elway knows Cap can play, and he's still not signing him. Why aren't you signing him when you have a shit emojis as quarterbacks?
That's
cool. Like you can't. That's only one reason, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe they don't necessarily have an email where he typed out to the boogeyman. And I guess in court you're going to need those kind of things. Yeah. We don't know they don't exist.
Right.
But there has to be some communication. Like I said, there's not one team at no point after everything that's going on that one team ain't going to give them a buzz.
Well, the blueprint for all the owners is the Tom Brady model from Deflategate is to break your phone. Just throw your phone against the wall ASAP. Yeah. You'll get another one and get it in the cloud or something because you don't want people coming and collect those phones.
Get in the airplane and just drop it out the plane.
Waiting on that 40 acres and a mule got me thinking.
It's good.
Game 4. Man. 4 places. You got your top 4 places that if you have 40 acres to set anywhere on this planet, where would you put your 40 acres at? So one of them would be New York in the heart of the city, and I would sell all that shit. You know how much money I'd get? Dumbo. So first I'm making that business decision. Okay. He went with his head. And then, pause, and then somewhere, and then, fuck. Somewhere, I definitely gonna be on the water. Where I'm gonna live is gonna be on the water. Hawaii, or is that too far? Is that too? No, I'll fuck with Hawaii. So you need 40 acres in Hawaii. You got own. That's an island.
What about more than over the Caribbean, or the South, or the South Pacific, PG? I'll roll with Hawaii. So because I'll roll with Hawaii, New York, and then I'll roll with somewhere in Greece. Wow. Somewhere in Greece. If I was gonna live across the pond, it'd be Greece. Mm-hmm. So Greece. And then you gotta throw out Modesto, right? Monterey. I just think of another place to fucking sell. What else? Man, fucking somewhere in Southern California, somewhere in LA. Somewhere right in Silicon Valley or something. I'm trying to get the bag. What about you? So this is essentially where we would like to live, right? Yeah. Where you putting your 40 acres at? For what I hate being hot, so nowhere hot. That's crazy. That's insane. I hate being, no, let me change that. Like, that doesn't change seasons. Because there's a difference between like beautiful like island Hawaii and hella hot like Phoenix. I would love to live in Arizona. No fucking Phoenix. Nah, they don't even think Martin Luther King ever existed. Fuck Arizona. Cap changing that shit. Not living there. But New York, that's my favorite place in the world. Okay. It's cold as fuck and there's a lot of people. That sounds like hell. But it's the most. Imagine just painting New York like that. All the great things he didn't mention. Lance is there right now. Lance ain't want to come back. I know every time I go to New York, I don't want to come back home. Last time I went, it's funny. The only time I wanted to come back was this last time I was there because my family. I haven't been in New York since I've been married. Aww. So I miss my family. Mm-hmm. But even now, I'm like, fuck, I wish he would just move out of here. Mm-hmm. New York's a fun place to visit. I agree. My wife she doesn't want to live in New York at all. I've asked her 100 times. That's too much. Absolutely. New York is incredible. I was looking the other day, and just for a reasonable size home, I was just comparing, and this is like a few nights ago. Yeah. I got up to $800,000 and it looked like I was still in a 1-bedroom studio in a G. Yeah. I'm like, this is insane. Yeah. Like it's, but go ahead. Sorry, you're rushing. Yeah. So it's crazy. So NY, I love my city. So Sac, I love Sac. Which part? We gotta get. This is a Sac podcast. You gotta get specific. My 2 favorite places. If I could live anywhere in Sac, it would either be in the Tuck and Land Park or in the 40s.
Okay. 540s.
I love the
I'd be
40s.
tucked away by myself.
I love the 40s,
I'd be
but I love old homes. I like things that have character. I'm not really into new homes like that. The kind of cookie cutter, small yards. I want to have hella dogs and shit. Like
You have 40 acres. You better build whatever kind of old home you want.
You could have a zoo and all kind of shit. Rebuild Neverland.
I'll save my toilet.
oh, you know what? I'd buy Neverland.
Yeah, you would buy Neverland.
I would buy Neverland.
That's a home run.
You would buy Neverland.
I would buy Neverland. Now that's
Good job, Bonzo.
No, we said 40 acres though. Neverland was like 2,700 acres.
You can expand
Is it
them.
really?
Neverland had its own fire department.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I think what's going on with Neverland is a travesty.
Yeah.
It's crazy nobody mentioned Florida. Y'all don't rock with Florida?
And I go to
I like
State
Florida,
games.
but
It's too
It's too-
humid.
I'll stay in
Yeah,
California.
Yeah, you don't have a coast.
And then because my wife and my son, they love that tropical.
Yeah.
They love being.
What
I
type
like
of
the
nigga
beach.
don't like the tropics?
No,
You
that's
gotta be sad,
insane. That's
nigga.
insane, man. You just go
I'm
to
a
Seattle.
I'm a city
Go
guy.
to Seattle, man. Go be gloomy for.
I'm a city
300
Nigga,
guy.
I don't want to wear. I don't want to wear shoes. When I'm on vacation, I'm have to wear shoes.
I
This
mean,
is
I'm saying I
bullshit.
need shoes. I'm a sneaker guy. I used to be beating the cement. You know what I'm saying? But don't get me wrong. Right now, if I was on an island somewhere, I would be
have some
very
clothes
happy.
on.
So I would say
Nigga don't like the sun.
somewhere in the Caribbean.
Somewhere in the Caribbean.
Yeah. So
It rains a lot in the Caribbean.
like Ocho Rios or something in Jamaica. They have nice something like that.
For me, man, I'm a South Side guy. Give me El Grove, South Side, Meadowview. No, I'm just I don't know if I'd have to. I don't know if I want to go to New York. I think I'm gonna just go all
Have you been?
out of. Yeah, I'm in New York plenty of times. It's been about 5 days straight, so I have to spend a good chunk of time there. I like to revisit. DC. I'm gonna go out to DC. Give me 40 acres in DC. Yeah, I'm gonna get that property.
DC is 40 acres.
Right.
Hey, that ticket's gonna be good. Give
Shouts
me
to DC.
something like you said between Elk Grove and Wilton, somewhere in there, as long as we can get exactly how I like it.
Even though there is a nigga who be on Wilton Avenue with fucking has a whole corner and it's fucking Trump paraphernalia.
Oh, Uncle John, yeah, what's up? Uncle John listens to
That
this.
shit be wild.
Regular.
You ever seen that shit posted up? It's just a nigga has a Trump booth. Hella Make America Great Again hats and just hella shit.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So sorry, bro.
The other two, I think I've never been to Hawaii. That's on my short list right now. So I'm gonna put some property out in Hawaii, and then I'm gonna go to Jamaica. Just because that Queens Jamaican, see, that culture has me intrigued, and I think it's just something to, that's dope. I'd do that. That'd be my four.
Can I change one? Kentucky.
The fuck?
For the Derby?
You want
'Cause I need horses.
Nigga? You got 40 acres.
Yeah,
Nigga.
Right.
You got them in Manhattan.
Yeah,
It's
but
lit.
I can't have horses in Land Park
You could drive.
or in Manhattan
Well, you get 40
or in
acres.
Jamaica.
So you
That'd
gonna
be
sacrifice life for Kentucky?
Kentucky is beautiful.
Yikes.
Nigga gonna be in the hills moon with moonshine.
You ain't gonna make it out, man. You ain't gonna make it out.
Yeah,
All right,
I just
man,
went for my horses.
Thank you for tuning into the Game 4 podcast. We'll see you guys next week.
Shout outs to Lance.
Shout out
Have
to
fun.
Lance.
Be safe.
Do your thing.
Fuck that nigga.
We out.